If you enjoyed the channel and our video content and would like to support us, you can do this in a couple of ways. You can sign up to our Patreon site, which is a monthly subscription to one of our 4 tiers, each giving you something different from early access interviews up to exclusive unseen footage. There's also the option of a one-off donation via PayPal, which allows you the option to donate an amount of your choice. Both options really help to keep this channel going and to continue putting out regular content for you good folk. So please take a look at aircrewinterview.tv/donate, and I thank you in advance. Thank you and enjoy. What is the role of a display nav in the F3?
That's a really good question, actually, because obviously you get the smart answers. You get the smart answers like, you're just talking baggage, or you're just adjusting the center of gravity, or you're a waste of fuel. But fundamentally, it's a 2-seat aircraft. That's the basic fact. It's a 2-seat jet, and a lot of the systems are worked from the back. So you've got to have that person there for the display. So what would we do? Really try and make the job as easy as possible for Goat and then for Matt for the 95 season. You want the pilot to be heads out as much as possible, flying the display or using with the F3 the head-up display. So I'd be doing a lot of the sequencing from the back. In terms of our crew cooperation, we try and keep it as quiet as possible. We had a really quiet cadence, so for example, brakes off, we have to take off clearance, and I just go speeds building 100, i.e. acceleration check. V-stop, that's our critical speed, we'd be airborne, pilot would go gear, and instead of him looking at the indications, I would now be looking at it myself, traveling, noses up, gears up, flaps, he'd say, I'd be looking over my shoulders, traveling up. This kind of crew system is what we try and work so that the pilot could be heads out as much as possible, and I'm doing a lot of the stuff just with the sequencing. In terms of the sequencing, quietly saying what the next maneuver would be, derry turn, heading, whatever it was. The wind would have a massive effect, would you believe? Even on the fast jet display, the wind was critical. Yeah. So we'd plan with a forecast wind. We'd make all of our adjustments for the headings for each maneuver on that forecast. But as soon as we were airborne, I'd have a look on one of my displays and I'd have a dynamic wind. And if it was different from the forecast, then it was a bit of very quick mental gymnastics, quickly working out all the new headings for each maneuver that we'd go and do. So quietly commenting on each maneuver. Gates was my responsibility, especially for the big vertical maneuvers, and we did do quite a lot of vertical. So the gate heights, you've got to hit those gate heights before you can basically commit your nose down into the next maneuver, else it can be really bad. So make sure the gates were good. If I was not really 100% happy with the rate that we got to those gates, such with the displays we flew, we could actually adjust quite quickly. So instead of coming with like 70 degrees nose down, I could just say 60 degrees nose down just to adjust.
All right. Okay.
We never flew to limits, and we never got close to limits, but it always just gave us that bit more of a margin. Yeah. The other thing that had a profound, I think, impact on me, I was at Lucas when we lost the Phantom display, a practice at Abingdon. I knew the guys, knew them reasonably well, and you know, they needed a lot more vertical doing a practice display at Abingdon that they had, and they were both killed. So, you know, we were both incredibly aware of that. Radios, I would look after all the radios. There'd been an amazing amount of chat on some of the display freaks. You couldn't believe it. You know, it's like, be quiet. You know, we were doing our stuff here. And ejection, here we go. The ejection decision was mine, pretty much. It was always pre-briefed. Every briefing was thorough. But give you an idea, I think the numbers were, if we were 90 degrees nose down, 3,200 feet above the ground, we'd blown it. We haven't got enough height now to recover out. 2,700 feet, I had that 500 feet to pull the handle. So that's not much time, because you're going down at one hell of a rate. Yeah. And if you hadn't done it by 2,700 feet, we'd blown it, because now the rate of the descent of the aircraft would outperform the seat. You know, the seat will go out with a downward vector. It's just G, acceleration, everything else. Wow. It will not have the time to do the sequencing, for the parachute to deploy, and for you to hit the ground. You'd still be basically in the seat or in an undeployed parachute.
Think about that, wow.
We never got close.
No, that's good.
No, we never, ever got close, but ultimately that was mine. So it was never a, should we eject after you? No, after you. It was a, that's mine.
That's your call.
And we talk about it afterwards.